G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today I have for you the new JetMag filter system from Nisi. And Nisi have been trying to solve the age-old problem of magnetic filters falling off your lens when you're using them and destroying the filters. So they've created what I think is called, I'm calling it like the Landscape combo. So this is for photographers primarily. It's not for videographers. There's a videography set. I'll put a link in the description for that too if you like. But here it is. It feels so nice. Like, that is hard, solid, smells so good. Just buy it for the smell. Buy it for the smell. Has a carabiner clip here to clip it onto your bag, clip it onto your tripod or whatever you're using, make it as accessible as possible. Just be careful if you click it on and you open it, everything inside is probably going to fall out. So just be smart about it. We're going to open this up. Oh, just firm and it's nice. And there it is. You're like, oh. What have we got here? Well, what have we got here? We need to start with the step-up rings. So the step-up rings, all of them step up, and we have from 67mm, 72mm, 77mm, and 82mm. I'm going to use the 82mm, and we do that by simply screwing on the front of your 82mm lens. Look how easy that goes in. Do not screw it up too tight. So you want to go firm, and then make sure you can just back it off. So you want to just... yeah, if you go too tight, you'll never get it off and you'll feel like ridiculous. So once that's on, normally what happens is we can take our filter system, has two caps here. So one cap is magnetically sealed on. Oh, gotta love that sound. And the other is also magnetically sealed on. Yeah, sometimes, Ralph, just wonder if there's not a kangaroo loose in the top paddock. We have 4 filters that come with the kit. We have a CPL, and we're going to talk about that later when we go out in the field about how that works and if it does what you need it to do. But then we have an ND1000, which is a 10 stopper. We have an ND64 and an ND8. And all of that gives you 15 combinations of light filter goodness you can stick on your lens. So let me just show you how it works. So we can pick them at random. The 3 ND filters, which is neutral density, which makes everything across a photograph look darker. They're all blue, and then the CPL is white. So let's start with the CPL, and we simply twist and pull. Magnet's good, but here's where it comes into its own. All right, so we simply put the magnet on. Listen. Yeah, so magnetized there. If I shake it, so it's made with good magnets. It's not like they make it with weak magnets where it's just going to fall off. But sometimes you knock it, right? You knock it, or your camera knocks something, and it just spills off and you scratch your filter and you're like, I'm done. We'll talk about the quality of glass when we get outside. On the step-up ring is a white mark. That white mark links with your handle here to let you know that it's locked in. So you put it in however you like, so it's magnetized on, but then you spin it round, and you can either spin it round either way, it doesn't matter. But once it's over this white mark, it doesn't come off. But watch, slide it this way, comes off. Doesn't come off, slide it here, it's locked in. JetMag, boom, come on, so good. All right, let's put another one on. It's so strong in the magnets, I can't get it off. We want to line the 2 handles up, right? So we place it on as you like, and then you turn the handles until the handles are both lined up and they're both over the white patch, and then nothing is coming off. And then you add another one to it, and you can turn that round and it's locked, or you can keep it loose and just have it to take on and off. If you like, I'm just experimenting. Good, that's the setup I want. I'm going to go on my hike now. I'm going to take a bunch of waterfall things. I'm down the beach. I want to take some light, do some water things, or do some long exposure in the city, something creative like that. And I'm like, yep, I'm happy with the amount of neutral density. Then you just turn it and it's locked on and it won't come off. So good. But you want to take it off, you can either go 1, 2, 3, and then you just pull them all off. You can put them safely in your packet and you're ready to use it without any filters. That's clever, isn't it? It's clever. It's like, why hasn't someone thought about it? Now, my immediate reaction is it would be super cool if on other full spectrum packs from Nisi, they've color coded the stoppage to the tabs. So this is actually color coded to be a certain, like a set for photography, and then the other one's color coded to be a set for video, and different types of filter, so not different grades of filter, but different types of filter given different color codes. It'd be just good if it was like a yellow and a green and a blue. So you could be like, oh, I need my 10 stopper, it's the blue, boom, on. But the light, it does say clearly what there is, and you can order your filters in here to be respectful. For example, if you've only got 82mm lens like I have, then you might say, well, I'm going to keep all the step-up rings at home, and I'm just going to put the filters in here based on their neutral density factor, and so they're all here and ready for you. Or you can keep the big slab in the middle like I started off with. What is that? I found another treat. We can keep your filter cover right at the end of each, or even separate, so that when you want to use it, it's ready to go. This is nice. It's firm, it's soft, but it's solid, so it's going to keep your filters very safe regardless of what you want to put around it. And a little bit of waterproofing, I reckon. So I wouldn't chuck it in a river, but I reckon it's going to be pretty waterproof against any rain or anything like that. I've just worked this out, that the extra missing piece in the pack was another lens cap. And so you have multiple lens caps if you want to move this filter off and keep this one safe, and then put this one back on. So for example, you can take off, say you're like, I just need to take off the top two, but I need to keep them safe. You can keep them safe, and at the same time, you can keep the one on your camera safe as well. So it's clever, isn't it? Good on you, Nisi. Like thinking for us and about us and outside of the box as well. Appreciate that. Let's get back to it. So here we are down the beach, and I've got my shot. My shot is set up, and you'll notice the shutter speed is very high and the aperture is very wide. The reason for that is that as I add stops, I want to keep the aperture and the ISO consistent so we can get a good even range of experience of what these filters are going to do. The step up ring is on at the 82mm, so we're going to start by putting the CPL filter on. Here it is. Simply slot it on, fits in nicely, and we slide it round. Now, so it just so happens when you lock in the CPL filter right on that white line, it's exactly where the CPL filter needs to be to increase as much saturation and decrease as much glare. So if I adjust this to be the correct exposure, you will see that the glare on those rocks is gone. So how good is that? And you can turn it around, you can change the effect that the CPL has on the shot, but the very best option is when it's fully locked in and ready to go. So we're going to take a shot there. Now I'm going to add the ND8. ND8 is 3 stops. I know, it's a bit strange, but there we go. That's popped on. We're going to lock it in. And as you lock it in, if all of the ridges on the side, see these little handles, if they all line up, it means the filters are locked together. And if the bottom one is locked against the white line, it means they're locked to the lens. So just be aware of that. Let's just now appropriately expose this. So we're going up those 3 stops, and we're going to shoot just there. Now I'm going to add the ND64. Again, nice and simple. Remember to lock it round so it's all in there. As you can see, the exposure drops to darkness, and so we need to climb through this to expose it correctly, and there it comes. And we're looking to see if the colors are exposed correctly, like they retain the colors as we put on these degrees of neutral density, and also whether there's vignetting in the corners or there's some strange pink or green lines or movements or clouds through it. But I've been really impressed, so we're going to take a shot there. Now I'm going to take off our ND64, and I do that by turning just the ND64, and then I can pull it off without fear of removing all the other filters, which is super helpful. And then I'm going to put in its place our 10 stopper, the ND1000. Why is it 1000, you ask? I have no idea. Put in the comments below, those of you who are smarter than I am. All right, we've got the 10 stopper on with a 3 stopper. That's 13 total stops, plus a stop from the CPL. So that's 14 stops we need to adjust for. We'll just keep going until our light meter says that's bang on, and that is bang on. Let's take the shot there. Now let's remove all of them, which we can do with a simple turn and pull. I'm now gonna put the 10 stopper only on so you can see the effect. Here we go, pure blackness. And then we just scroll through until it registers. 10 stops is a lot of stops. Perfect for in the middle of the day, bright, but you want long exposure. For example, the waves, the water in this case, you might want to do a cool photo with some trees or some traffic or something that moves fast, or even use it to pan. So you probably wouldn't use a 10 stopper to pan, but you might use a 6 stopper to do some panning work if it's very, very bright in the day. All right, there's that shot. I'm going to take that shot, And with all the different combos, we could be here all day. I'm not going to be here all day. I'm just going to put the ND64, which is the 6-stopper, on and just give you a look at that without the CPL, because some of you will be like, I just want to see what it looks like without the CPL. Well, folks, here you go. We have to underexpose, correct the exposure based on that, because we lose 4 stops between the 10 stop and the 6 stop. So if this is all brand new to you, I hope this is starting to make sense. A stop is a measurement of light that we use in photography to calculate exposure. I'm going to put it right there, take that shot. Now, I discovered that it doesn't matter which f-stop you go on, whether it's f.2, it's f18 or an f9 to 11, you'll still get the same results, except you just change the length of exposure that you're using and playing with, which you will be able to do. But in terms of quality of filter, it's consistent all the way through. This is the lens cap that is also magnetic and also locks in. So you apply it to the front of the lens and then you screw it round until it's just there, and then you've got a secure lens cap protecting your lens, even if you don't have filters on there as well. So I want to show you 6 of the photographs that I just took and talk through how these filters work. So this is the first one. It has no filter on it whatsoever. So it's just shot straight out of the camera with the light meter on 0. That means it's exposed correctly based on what the camera thinks, in contrast from these dark parts to these light parts. So if we go to the second photo, I've put the CPL on and it takes it down a stop, and so you notice the speed goes from 1/3200 to 1/1000, and you'll notice 2 things about this. One, look here for the glare, and the glare is reduced with the CPL on, and also the colors up here are increased in their saturation. So this is no CPL, CPL. Have a look at the glare, no CPL, CPL. Have a look at the color, no CPL, CPL. So the color is enhanced, the glare is reduced, and you lose a stop of light, so you need to adjust for that stop of light. Now this photograph is taken with this in focus at 2.8, f2.8. This normal shot you take on an f-stop of 9 to 11, but if I do that, when it gets darker, I run out of shutter speed options to go to. So I've set it on 2.8 to give you a run through of what the shutter speed can do based on a stable aperture. But this shot, don't take this normally on f2.8. All right, then I added to the CPL the ND8. This is 3 stops, so I had to change 3 stops. And look at the colors. So that's previous. So you'll notice it's a tiny bit darker than the previous shot. That's because you allow for the camera to make its calculations based on a 0 light meter, and sometimes it's not as perfect as you like, but the colors are the same, the quality is the same. And if you're thinking, what about the vignetting? You see the vignetting somewhere here and here? So I'm going to go back to here. There's still vignetting, right? So we can actually do a bit of a test on this. If we go down to lens corrections and we go profile, we choose enable profile connection, and we select the lens that it is, it takes out all of the lens distortion that the lens has, and you will see that the filter brings no vignette to what we're talking about. It also doesn't bring any chromatic aberration. That's where you get pink and highlights behind these sort of trees, this pandanus, and what you don't want is chromatic aberration, and it doesn't have any with these filters, which is wonderful. Let's push on. We're going to go add the ND64, which is a 6 stop. So we've got a 3 stop and a 6 stop and a CPL on. Let's just enable the profile, and you will notice the corners aren't cut away because you have to have a step up ring that makes it wider. So the lenses actually sit on the camera face wider, so that if you use a really wide lens, this is at 24mm, you don't get the corners cut up as you add filters to it, which is a classic issue that you normally get. But you'll notice the colors are still the same. If I just increase this ever so slightly, so you can have a bit of a look at the correct exposure. So we haven't got much of a change of colors. Perhaps there's a little bit, perhaps that's a little bit blue. Those greens are a tiny bit blue compared to here. They're a little bit more green, and the white balance is slightly more
yellow when you've got 3 filters back to back on this puppy. All right, now I'm going to take off the ND64 and I'm going to add an ND1000. That's 13 stops. That means in the middle of the day you can do a long exposure. So look how smooth all this water comes. That's blurry because that's sharp. That's the 2.8 issue you have. But you'll notice that the colors aren't distorted. It actually looks really, really good. I'm impressed with the quality of this. And if you got this lens and you just were able to take these shots, you'd be just stoked. Now, CPL and it's 13 stops, and that's our base level. So then I thought, what if I take the CPL off and I just shoot with the ND64? So look at the rocks down here, especially as I go to the ND64. You see the glare returns to the rocks? It's a little bit darker, so I can adjust that with the exposure up here. But really what you're after, because the exposure will jump around, but you don't see any pink hues, you don't see any bizarre greenery that shouldn't be where it is, or green tints. You have the detail held by the filter system of what the lens can pick up. You can allow for this long exposure, and you can end up with a really wonderful quality on a filter system that won't fall off if you knock it, bang it, carry around, chuck it in your bag, because it's magnetic and you screw to hold. Come on.
I know you have questions, so let me have them down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. Thanks, Nisi, for sending this to me and believing in me. I love our partnership. It's just one of the highlights of my photography work on YouTube. And this is such a good product, so I can highly recommend it to you. Proof is in the pudding, and we've just watched all the pudding. That's such a weird saying, isn't it? If you know where proof of the pudding comes from, let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching. Links down below, all that gear. Love to hang out more, so please subscribe, like the video helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.